So that point you made of James came to you for a reason. That's
Mhm.
intuition. That's the inner knowing bringing you to a certain place. I could also say that for, these children at school who are in the cages. So I allow them to tell a story where I'm not judging them in any form. I'm allowing them to express themselves, to experience it, and then have it being safe, of course. Like you would have
Right.
a nightmare dream and you would come up to the end part of the dream and you would reinvent it. That's Gestalt dream interpretation, so you make it healed. But I can imagine, James, what was it like for you as a small child? Were you finding that you were kept on having all these thoughts and dreams and impressions and people going, nah, silly, be quiet. What are you talking
Okay. Yeah, so as a child, I was mostly just trying to get through it all because I was in a family that was dealing with a lot of abuse. And I would have memories of being these grays coming through my window, so I would sleep in my closet or my bed, under my bed, sorry. So it was like later on I realized that that was part of my programming. I don't mean to scare the children out there, but it is not. There's other masks behind that mask, and that's when I realized they were utilized. That was part of my training to be used off world. My dad says that I levitated as a child, and he got the Bible out and prayed over me, but I think he probably just traumatized me more than actually helped me. But I do have memories of being in a castle doing magic, and I'm working on a book right now about like the Harry Potter timeline because
about?
it's my belief that that is actually a documentary. My name was Jameson at Hogwarts, and I'm working on. I've already got through the second part, so I got 6,000 words. So I have some different. If you want to, I can send you the links if you want to follow the
That
story.
would be interesting
Well,
because the
long
resonance of the Harry Potter stories, I work with all these children. This year, 65 reports I've just written. Okay. So a lot of children come through me and we go deep into their stories and I allow everything from within to come through. They really love Harry Potter because it's a world that they relate to. That's the real world for them, the magic world.
Well, it exists in the fourth dimension astral realm, and Dumbledore is real. It looks like Snape is actually has black. Oh wait, hold on a second. Brown hair, and his hair is really long. Let's see here. So Harry Potter's actual name was Jameson, and they didn't go to Ollivanders to get a wand. You would have to stick your hand inside a wooden table and telekinetically use like program the matter to create it out of the wood table. So
Okay, so this is where this is really interesting. Okay, so Oksana knows that I wrote stories called Transmissions from the Planet Zog. I started getting transmissions from Zog, and it turned out that Zog was us in the future. And I made this story of how when I'd lost my ability to walk as a child, which did happen, and I was in hospital for months, that I transposed myself to Zog. And I got all that information and later on turned it into these books for children. Okay, so all the wonderful things that we could have on Earth if we were allowing all the good stuff to come through, like the 0 point energy and various other things. So that's a realm that actually exists that I tapped into. You've just tapped into Harry Potter. Oksana, when you go on your journeys for people and to yourself and James, you go and see all these realms, different realities, etheric planes, dimensions. And we've been compressed into this squish under the matrix system, obey and just don't be silly. And we're now starting to break out of it and see that there are all these dimensions and realities. So, Oksana, can you say something about your awareness, your knowing of the evidence of this, of the truth of this?
Yeah, well, the thing is, what is creation and what is imagination? Imagination is a tool that our soul, that is not in the physical body or any other body, the soul who is a director of all those lives we get into, uses imagination to convey the truth to us or the ideas to us. So we go the certain timeline to experience certain events that it's interesting for our soul or bigger you as an observer to see you go through. That's what I tell my children, that imagination, it's like they trying to basically do everything upside down and make you lose imagination, because that's your biggest and more powerful tool in physical life also, to create events that you want, to experience something new and exciting. And creation it's multi-layered. Basically, every time we think of something or imagine looking at the flower, at the tree, a different world, it already exists automatically. That's much kind of like when we leave the body. The minute we think of something, we create it. We can create a universe for ourselves or a planet, whatever we want. So imagine how many creations exist if everything you can think of already is. And that just makes it question this reality. And that's how we got to the point that we understood that this reality was hacked, because there's so many constrictions in it and so many systems of control. And that's why we all almost, all of us who woke up feel uncomfortable in the body, feel uncomfortable with systems of control who dictate you what to do or give you a false perception of free will, when your free will is only to choose between Republicans or Democrats. And do
So
I
when you
really
and I
need
work
both?
together, oh, vote for both. Yeah, that would be fun. When you and I worked together, Oksana, and I didn't know you, I'd watched a few of your videos, and it's a few years ago now, isn't it? And there we
Mhm.
were. I was excited. You knew I was excited. It was obvious. And you started seeing stuff, and I was right there with you. So, audience, Oksana was seeing things, places, circumstances, and I was right there seeing them with her and laughing with her as she saw things. In the same moment, she was in America, I was in England. This kind of stuff is actually normal. This kind of stuff is actually how we function as human beings. It could be called telepathic, quantum entanglement, all kinds of things by location. But this has been wholly hidden from us. But this is how you and James could go and research his very extraordinary I mean, my God, James, have you ever planned out, mapped out your lives and the cloning and the separation? Because sometimes I think if you made that onto a map,
That's the
have
map.
you
It's a
made a
whole,
map of it? Because
yeah,
that's so complex.
it's like 400 pages. So yeah, even
You
after I
need your
started,
friend to make that map. You know, what's his name? Who makes the amazing maps of all of your clones and different realities. You should
oh
get him to make
yeah,
an image.
we'll see. I mean, I've got some
Ah.
the clone
Okay, you
bot.
got some nice drawings, but I think if people started to see how a soul could be split up as an image, you know, Oksana's so brilliant at going to find pieces that are left, taken, removed. You're putting it into words now with your book. I put it into my children's books. My upside down Clepsydra Turnabout and the Upside Downers, a book for small children, was banned from YouTube because they didn't like the idea of talking about a woman who liked nature turning the upside down people the right way up. So these basic things, yes, that was shocking for YouTube. They wouldn't let, because that's what we're doing. I talk about turning everything 180 degrees. Now the true learning is from the inside out. You're documenting it. Oksana's working in it every day. You're interviewing people who see it every day. We're talking Harry Potter as real, right? We're talking multi-dimensions as real. This is the very exciting leading edge we are surfing on. I had to unfriend somebody today on Facebook because I posted that I was going to speak to you two today, and he just said something rude. And I just thought, you're unfriended, ciao. Because he didn't know, and he wanted to stir up and be ignorant and stupid. But we are actually excitedly researching and opening up what is a human being and what have we been used for and what have we been doing. I mean, what would you like to say about that, you two?
Well,
What is your role now?
Well, I think I'm a catalyst of change. So the goal is to plant a seed so that you learn the knowledge. Of course, we can't verify a lot of these people that I've interviewed or even a lot of the content in here. But the idea is that we can learn so that we can make connections and then we can decide through our own intuition what is real and truth. So let's just put the information out there and learn.
So Oksana, when you and I saw the same thing and I hadn't met you before, this is the kind of evidence, when more and more of that kind of evidence is documented, that you're in a place in your mental and etheric body and I am there with you when we're traveling. And that's an impossibility for Joe Bloggs down the street. This is, if you brought that to school, ha ha ha, so funny, go and write a story, go and read a science book. It is still way out of the reality. And I can't work in any other way. I will not put myself into an old authoritarian box anymore. The question is, how do we build the ladder, the bridge between this that we know, we can feel the resonance, the truth, our intuition is, how do we build the bridges?
Well, I want to put on a Harry Potter tour. If you go to Scotland, go visit some sites. The actual portal is located somewhere in a rural area. We can try to figure out where that is to get to that dimension. But I mean, that's just one of the things that we could do. Of course, I'm putting on the conference, and I've got books. I'm working on another book about the Daniel Pacer material, where Saint Germain, the French royal crown, and was working with George Washington and so on with Oak Island treasure. But yeah, so let's just plant seeds in people's hearts, and then that can grow over time, and then yeah, we can help raise the consciousness of the planet.
So Oksana, with your work, are you finding more and more synchronicities kind of proving, showing you the evidence more and more of this?
Yes, 100%. I mean, I see what I'm already doing in the future, and I see how people come to me and offer to do this or that, and how it's leading towards that what I'm already doing, because I can see. But for those who can't see, you have an idea, you draw a picture, and keep that picture in your mind, and you'll see how magic happens. You don't have to do anything, you just have to be excited about doing something that will bring you pleasure, and you'll feel like you contribute, and you're needed for those who are ready for you in your reality, who can connect to your reality and get some knowledge for their realities, because each and every one of us has different reality, has different set of lenses through which we uncover this reality and build it specifically for each and every one of us. And people who come to you, they resonate with something you see, and those who don't, they will be like that person on Facebook who just doesn't get it, and he's not ready for it. So he should be going his own path, his own way, and maybe in this life he's not supposed to know it. It depends of for everybody, and that's why I'm saying it's so stupid that people have competition, because we can have hundreds and hundreds of people who do sessions, but there's only one specific person with whom you resonate, whom you like by voice, by face, by sound, by the way he or she does it. You know what I mean? There should not be competition, or there's no they should not be convincing of others of your opinion, because everybody has his own opinion, and it's perfectly normal, and we should
This is the
respect
point,
each other for
isn't
that.
this awareness of the true soul nature of the human being, and this individuality, and this incredible
Exactly.
moving mechanism which is our lives. Nothing, it's hard for the moment that we touch it, but everything, you are going on a path and you may avoid 10,000 people because they're not in your resonance sphere. So I talk about the new learning is resonance learning. What is the connection, the attractive connection between the piece of information and where you are, and that's how you move. to make your choices, to find your people, to ask your questions, to dare to do these things. Like you were talking about, you can just draw a picture. So I remember drawing a picture of how I wanted my body to look like when I was very, very thin in my divorce state, where everything was a nightmare, a disaster. And I drew a picture, and of course my body looks exactly like that now. All I did was just live as well as I could. And that's how it works. But this thing of, like, I told you that silly story of me getting a huge sofa up the 3 flights of stairs. Okay, impossible. But I just said, look, I don't know how to do it, but a part of me does. How does it work? Went and had a cup of tea. 5 minutes later, leverage, physics, leverage. So I did, and I got the thing up, and all the builders said, how on earth did you do it? But this is what we're plugging into, this very fluid, flexible. So your crazy extreme experiences, some of them are highly dangerous and terrifying, we're starting to distill that through not just the Harry Potter books, and some of that's pretty darn scary, but we're trying to bring in this multifacety of the human experience, because people are going into AI virtual reality games to make their life interesting. And they have no idea that if they just opened up their minds, they would have all of the adventures they could possibly imagine in there. It's sort of crazy. What would you say about that?
Well, I think if you were to meditate and look within, you can find all the answers. Uh, the Harry Potter story that I'm working on is actually a lot of it's channeled material. So we actually have channeled conversation from Snape and his familiar Bert. It's a Bert B. He's a 3 foot tall turtle. And Tom Riddle. Tom Riddle was a nice boy and friends with Harry Potter until he got really jealous. He went back in time and did a spell to change the times. So that's why yeah. So, but so we can meditate, and by raising our own consciousness and vibration, we can access these states of mind. And certainly AI has its own egregor attached to it, where you can commune with that, or you can commune with your own higher self. So it's all about balance, in my opinion. Oksana, what do you think?
Yeah, it's true. Well, the magic happens really when you kind of work on the programs in the physical, in the conscious mind, and you have to work through them. And basically, those programs are habits that you create, or something you accepted as a belief system from your parents or your teachers or whoever it is, shaped your belief system. And that's basically what people are fighting with each other, because of their belief systems and based on their also, well, when you connect to your subconscious, your soul, all of a sudden you start re-remembering what you went through at a soul level in different lives, and that shapes you up quickly too, because then you start decoding the reality in a different way based on those experiences also. See, it all depends on how strong our connection to our subconscious is. Like you said, it's important to meditate, and sometimes when you meditate like I did from the age of 16, stuff happens, and I was basically hit against the wall with the I mean, in the not in the direct but was I had this Kundalini awakening that was absolutely crazy. I didn't know what it was, but I figured it out along the way. But what I did was meditation. I opened myself up to that point. It took me a while, since 16 until what was I, 35, 36, something like this. It's a long
So,
time. But
this, I have had the pleasure for the last 17 years of working in this school with all these children and disguising it, as I said, as performing arts improvisation. So 2 other children I had last week, they went into evil magician mode. Okay. So they started off, they were quite pleasant. Then they went into evil magician mode, and they were really cruel. 2 5-year-olds, really cruel. And so I let them play it out for a while. I was the victim, and I really cried so they could feel it. And then I said, okay, stop. Now we're going to change roles, and you get to be me and I'll be you, and da, 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 so that they could feel it. Now, that's an amazing tool that they were obviously I was shocked that these little 5-year-olds were literally talking about death, destruction, torture. So that's a memory. You don't just create that out of nothing. There's no one really in their environment, apart from maybe horrible movies they're watching, who's demonstrating that. However, if we give them a method, a means, a field in which they can discover themselves non-judgmentally, that compassionate place. And it's just like, I remember, James, you talking about when you realized that some of your altars had been used for such dark things and others were really very positive, and that must have been very difficult to deal with. But if we understand that we can process these things, these children then went then and became different characters and realized that, shit, that was horrible, not entirely. They still like being the mean magicians to an extent, but it's an interesting tool that we can now start working with this. You don't need to go into therapy age 34 for years. You can start at the beginning. So James, can you just talk about that, when you found that way of like, I did that. That was part of me. I may have been made to do that, but that was part of me, and how on earth you resolve that?
Absolutely. So back in 2010, I began working on this meditation device to help you relax. So I can get it open here. So it has these pyramids inside. I fill different orgone type material. It's got like different waxes in here, quartz crystals. I put this is the skullum, so it has 13 little crystal skulls in here, and I put lapis and some other stones. So this is for sacred geometry. Anything that's cone or pyramid shaped produces chi energy. And then the sphere contains different crystals. So you got the source and radionics. You have a source of energy, and then you have the well. So the sphere is in the center. You can see that there. So you keep that in here. And then you would put this on your lap and meditate with it. So I'm working on a device for children. It's going to be for us. It's sphere shaped. So it has little cones on the inside of the sphere. But you would just put this on your lap, and then you would activate it and meditate. Studies show you should meditate a minimum of 11 minutes each session, but I like to meditate for 30 minutes, and it'll bring more chi energy into your body to help you relax. So I like to create like a little children's book guide and a clamshell to go with it. And we can put it in maybe in like the bookstores, but it's a long, it's a goal of mine for years. I started a 501c3 nonprofit, and I never got any grant money, but then I guess I just focused on other stuff too. But so I probably played a role in that too. But so if you want to learn more about, you can always get my book, Lone Wolf. It's probably not for children, but maybe bigger children can read it.
Well, it's surprising. It's scary sometimes to me what I see 12-year-olds reading. The darkness in children's literature. I don't know when the last time you guys went into a bookstore and looked in the kids section, but the teenager section, it's quite disturbing what is in there. The number of murder books that they read. But why? Like you said, Oksana, we're drawn to the people. We are drawn to the situations. Why are we reading the murder books at age 12 and 13? Because it's like I asked you, James, of that moment where you realized one of my altars did terrible things, but I, James Rink, am a good human. How do you deal with that? We're in this state of, like you said, Oksana, this is the time when all of these things that are dysfunctional are coming up. We're getting them right in our face to clear them out, to see them, to acknowledge them, to clear them, to transform them.
Right, because there's a matrix. I see like the walls of matrix. We're basically inside a big cube, which we call matrix world. And that's how I perceive it. You can perceive it differently. And the walls of it are filled with technology that basically shoots waves with ideas, thoughts, perceptions at us. And that's why sometimes you wake up and you have some words in your head that you never use. That means that the matrix showed you a dream. It was totally a matrix projected dream into your dream state, And that's how people can be controlled by those wave technology. And there's so much technology around us we don't even see. When I close my eyes, there's floating computers, there's scanners, there's pictures taken, they scan what you think about, what you're vulnerable, in what condition your emotional body, what wounds to open up again. You know what I mean?
And
This
that's
is when
the
you're
stuff you
totally
can't
unaware.
see. That's the stuff you can't see. You know, when I was saying about the kids' bookstores, and you see the books that are available to them because they go to the big publishing houses. I bet, James, did you have to publish that book yourself, or did you find a
That's a
publisher?
matrix system too. The publishers are part of the matrix mind control system.
Yeah, yeah. We
Well,
will select this.
yeah, I did get an ISBN. I self-publish. I part of the reason is I've been updating it once every 6 months, but I'm at 400 pages now, so I won't really be able to put any more updates in there. So if you want to get a copy of that, you can go to neologicaltech.com, because it's not my Amazon account actually got deleted for selling violent. I was selling these meditation cubes, and they told me that I was selling violent products. So, but this was actually right
Play
after
my kid's story.
Matrix for you. It never
but
sponsors anybody who is good in the system.
I did go to the January 6th thing, but I had a channel message from Saint Germain about what was going on with Trump and, the politics. Basically, our politics, they're all just a bunch of actors, and it was a show. So I had this message in front of the Washington Monument. So yeah, I also lost my PayPal account too, right?
Is that all at the same time, James? Did they just,
I had
oh, James Rink, let's
$1,800
just
on my
delete.
$1,800 in my PayPal account, and that was for my 501(c)(3). So it was a huge dent because I'm still trying to do the same thing with, like the tiny little bit of the money that I used to get. But I just keep pushing forward, and yeah. So I do recommend that children meditate, and like I said, about 30 minutes a day. It'll help you reduce stress. Studies even show meditation, like for instance, in a public school setting, would reduce crime around the school and in the school, as well as making the teachers feel better and the students feel better. The grades go up.
So let me just say, as a person who works with children forever, as a mommy too, but for other people listening in, yes, you can meditate if you're 12 or 13, sitting quietly like we adults do. But another meditation would be the kind of stuff that I work with, where it's a story. Like I've had children who just go 40 minutes singing a brand new opera, like no note, no word of that ever came out of their mind before, and it flowed out for 40 minutes. Now that's a meditation. Yeah, or creating a story and they stay in that character for an hour. That's a meditation. It's just whatever we can do. So as adults, we tend to go into that quiet space, and it's nice because we're always doing things we don't want to do when we're too busy usually. So it's beautiful. But for a child, they're wanting to move. So there are many different kinds of meditative structure that will bring you to that same channeling through of your inner being, of your inner expression. But of course, that's gonna open. What did you do, James, as a child to kind of keep sane when you realized you were just weird and different compared to your school kids?
Well, as a child, I always felt like I was an adult. Like these other children were not really my colleagues. They were just people I was around. Um, and I think a lot of people that were utilizing these career return 20, 40, 60 year back return programs feel like they're adults. So yeah. Well, the actual probably moment, I think I was getting older and older. I was being taken to church every Sunday, and I was falling asleep in the services because I wasn't resonating with the information. And then I realized about the Council of Nicaea and what really Christianity was just what was not really what Jesus was promoting, because the Pharisees and Sadducees put him on the cross. So if the priest class are known to do evil things like that, then why are we trusting the priest class today? But yeah, it's just a lot of things. So the idea is just always question reality. Of course, I mean, I don't say question your parents, but Yeah, and always keep learning. So the more you
So,
learn,
so
the
you
more
you
knowledge.
questioned your reality in this by being quiet. Were you just, I mean, I was a quiet observer as a child. I just saw a lot of stuff, and I think you were like that too, Oksana, weren't you? Just like, okay, you're doing that.
Yeah.
Great. Okay. Did you know how hypocritical that is? I'm not going to say anything because I'll get into trouble. I'll just sit in the corner and just watch. Were you like that too?
Yeah, much like I do now, because people make no sense. There's so much chaos and so much game playing. Like James just said, it's a big stage, and the same. Well, one group of people basically split up in two and pretended we're Democrats and we're Republicans, or we're this side or we're that side. But the thing is, there is a script, and it's gonna go on the script they both wanted.
The puppet
That's a
masters are
realization.
playing.
I know, and they get you into, they basically suck you in into this black hole of their game, sucking your energy out because you get emotionally involved. You know how people talk to each other about politics? It turns into a big fight, but that's exactly what Matrix wants
So
you to
let's talk
constantly fight.
about pulling out, because I've just recently joined a Facebook group about communities. Okay, so eco communities, permaculture, and 20 years ago there were four. There weren't many, right? Now there are many, many, many. But I notice a lot of these cultures, people have land, someone's bought some land, and they're actually wanting to make their money off that enterprise of a community. So here we are three black sheep, us three. We do things that people don't notice are real. For us, it's completely real. Somehow, however, the rent is still real and the food bill is still real. And so to operate in this current reality, we're bridging it. How on earth do we do that with the finances? And I would like to suggest something, and I want to see what you're going to answer, the two of you, that these other human skills we're talking about, activating the full humanity, the creation, the imagination, that we find, being on the edge as we are, that we use some of those skills to create, to bring in the necessary abundance so that we are still functionally, happily, healthily living. We're not, people concerned with investing 2 million in property, and we're just, that I don't think that's the mindset of either of you or me, but somehow we've managed it. So there are more people like us struggling. We have sort of gracefully found a way to come to terms with it. What can we say? What can we offer there? Because this is the parent who's awakening, who wants their child to remain awake. This is the outsider, the one who can't say yes to the matrix structures anymore. This is the one that sees the puppet masters. What do we say for them in terms of, your financial, material survival?
I feel like, so I have a teenage daughter now, 14, 12-year-old boy, and 8-year-old. But the teenage age, I realized that my daughter and my son are gonna go through, test out the matrix programs of belief system of their peers in school, their classmates, and they will come to their own conclusion. And I'm not gonna influence them, because it has to be their own experience, their own belief system formed from that experience. How to, well, the good news is, if you're bombarded as much as James is, financially and other ways, all these matrix people coming to him and, trying to tell nasty things to him. I mean, that just means that he is the purest soul, the very clean and honest perfection, as he is. So, and the same was me. I mean, I've been through so much, but it just shows you, it is because the matrix sees you as somebody who is clean, pure, honest with yourself and others, and they want to bombard you with everything and to beat you up, so you don't have any energy left to improve and help other souls to get out of the trap called matrix.
But you
They
too
don't want us
have
to.
resisted it. Someone gave me the
Well,
words
we
today
do.
from a
We're stronger than they think
Yes,
at
this is
the
the
end.
point, isn't it? How did you resist it? Because faith, grace, and courage, those three words were just bandied about today in a good interview about what's going on right now. But I would say it's something to do with those qualities, isn't it? You say it's the purity, the resonance of the frequency of our beings, which takes us somehow, we go around the edges of things. We find ways, like water will flow around the obstacle. We are like the water flowing around. James, would you say that's what you've had to be? To have a nice looking home there in the background, despite all this nonsense?
Yeah, you're right. I guess I did manifest that. So always just try to be love. I feel like through like, I know we talk about, there's some talk about the law of attraction, but my belief it's the law of magnetism. So try to be that which you already desire and it will magnetize to your reality. Can I share my screen? I know we only have 3 minutes. I'll make it real quick. I promise.
Yeah, please.
These are some projects I'm working on, provided we actually did get our NASARA timeline and we get our funding. I wanted to show what some of the things I was gonna work on. So
You
this
can
is
always
called,
dial back in if you've got another 10 minutes. Don't
well,
worry.
that's okay. Well, just it's not working, but it's called the
Okay,
Alexis
maybe I have
Beach.
to. Oh, I have to press this thing for
Yeah,
multi-participant screen sharing.
yeah, it's called Alexis Beach, and this one we can maybe make it a floating island. They don't let me fill in the ground south of Miami Beach area. But so we could let's raise this, we'll create a floating island or whatever, but we'll do like Tartarian type or Atlantean type architecture. And we could create like a 24/7 dance park. It might be noise ordinances issues, but we can and then I want to put like a magic school, you know, we might as well put the Tartarian architecture somewhere. I put the palm trees there to give you an idea, but
Yeah, in
the
Florida.
AI shows, of course, the AI kept putting the colored children there. So I see it like it's not just gonna be, it's gonna be for all people. It doesn't matter. You don't have to just, because I know Harry Potter, it's mostly like white people there, but we're gonna have it accepted for all people. And we're gonna teach them psionic abilities. So it's not psychic abilities, it's psionic, and we can teach them magic. Really, it's just about manifestation, where you can tune into what we all, this is what a normal awakened human would be. So we can teach these children, and I'm hoping by then we'll have teleportation, so you can live anywhere in the world and you can teleport your child to the school. And but
If you gave that choice to any child, do you want to go to this school? They would say yes.
They will be running.
Every single child I've ever had through my door in my sessions, they would say yes, because they know that is what's natural. They know it.
yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
So
Because we're going to build these places. I call it the speaking house. I just had this vision a long time ago. A house started talking to me. And so I started talking to the house. And then I found out, you know, how they live on Zog, and half the time kids are in the tree houses. But I started planning, you know, for our schools, for the future, for our communities, and how the people would work and live in and with the schools, adults with their brilliant skills, just being there with the children using them contractually whenever they needed them. You know, the people like us, we have been planning this in our minds, and now it's the quickening time. It is about, and unless we have to build it now in our minds, we have to introduce the ideas. We are offering the escalator, the 2016 escalator mode that changed people's minds, but we are now building that so that it becomes from weird to normal. Harry Potter was so bizarre, that little tiny skinny book, the first one, she was only allowed to print a tiny thin book. I bet the real manuscript was as fat as all the other ones, but they only trusted her with that little skinny one.
it was 1.2 million words for the whole novel series. So that first book was 77,000 words. I know that because I'm working on a project myself. So.
Yeah.
I'm back.
Thanks for coming back. Sorry, I got too excited. I just completely forgot that there's a time limit on this. There's just we should have spent a lot more time on your school, but
well, Isabel, how about this? Well, let me get your contact information, and I'll we can discuss what your qualifications are and where you could be in a project, because I'm help.
I've already know how that school runs. You know that.
What, you were at Hogwarts too? You were one of those professors?
Everything
Actually, no,
happens
I
for
have
a
to tell you, recently someone said, okay, actually it was Matthew who you met, Oksana, last week. He said to me, just out of the blue, he said, I just had this feeling that you were considered for Professor McGonagall in the Harry Potters, because I've actually never acted professionally. I've sung professionally, but I've never and I've danced professionally, but never acted professionally. And I thought it was hilarious that he said that. But yeah, obviously on a sub-reality, I was busy. I could do a Scottish accent too if you need it. But no, I mean, it was an outpouring of its time, wasn't it, Harry Potter? It was there for a reason. And she's an interesting character in herself, and I would like to have a conversation with her. But that's another matter altogether.
I do have some I tell you what, I'll send you the audio recordings where you wake up and you're there in her office and she's talking to you, and yeah, so I'll send you those links to those YouTube videos I did for Jameson. Yeah.
That's so interesting. Very
Oksana, do you
good.
want to add anything?
I am just, I see it already with my eyes open, how it's all shaped together the way we at a soul level agreed to. And the reason why, today podcast happened is because of that. It's part of the step 2, and then there are going to be other steps. And they're just perfect. See, I mean, you didn't even know James was working on Harry Potter. And what is the coincidence that he offered me to, do this session with him to get more information and channel for the Harry Potter project?
And that was today. That was today.
It's
Was
perfect.
that today?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
yesterday he talked to me about it. But I mean, see, we use our imagination and we create our own reality. But in this project, we're co-creators because we agreed that we're interested in this project all together. So imagine three energy points put together. It's huge fire. So we're gonna zoom through and make it come true quicker than.
And there's not really
one
much
person
point.
would.
I mean, that's if I do this sometimes. I wonder whether you two too kind of go through into my mind. Okay, what is the most exciting thing I would want to do if I can do anything? This is the most exciting thing I could do if I could do anything. It's like, let's have completely new schools, the ones we always wanted to be in, and totally different system. That's what I want to do. That's a nice note to end on.
Yeah, perfect.
Thank you.
Perfect. To be continued.
To be
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. James, please, can you send to Oksana or to me, whichever you wish, all of the links you want me to list, and I will put them in. Same with you, Oksana. I just use your YouTube and your email for now,
Yes.
but if you want anything else, I put that in.
Okay.
Thank you. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you, Isabel.
Bye.
More magic. Thank you.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Magic real again. Or make it real again.
Yeah, make it real again, a little bit more tangible. We've got to spice up this life. It needs to be a little bit more fun. Enough of the misery. Enough of them. Okay.
Perfect. Great. Thank you.